AI is covering pretty much the whole video production process for me. I'm using AI now, specifically a tool called that just does all of that first pass edit for me in about 5 to 10 minutes. It's slashed my editing time. First version title. I'll throw that into ChatGPT and say, like, what do you think to this title? Often I'll use Generative fill to like fill in space that didn't exist in the original photograph. And the tool I'm using plugs right into Premiere. It's an extension. It's really great. Just passed over 100,000 subscribers. It all comes down to consistency.
Creator Magic Podcast.
Just before we get into the episode, would you do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button? Wherever you're listening to or watching this podcast, subscribing really helps the show to grow. And now, let's get into the episode.
Hey Mike, good to be here.
I'm really curious to know how you're using AI tools. You have a YouTube channel, just crossed the 100,000 threshold, so you're doing incredibly well. You teach AI in a really unique way. What tools are you most proud of and what are you using in your processes?
AI is covering pretty much the whole video production process for me, apart from choosing video topics. That's the only way I'm not using AI yet, and it doesn't feel quite there, quite good enough. But after I've chosen a video topic, I'm using it for packaging my videos, so the titles and thumbnails. I'm using it for the editing. That's the real heavy lift I'm finding, is the amount of time it's saving me with editing once I film my video. And finally, distributing that video across onto YouTube and to different social media platforms and repurposing it and stuff. Like the whole production process, it's saving me so much time.
That's so incredible to hear that you're using it all the way along, apart from the ideation. Now, I'd like to kind of almost go on a journey with you, Greg, through that process. And one of the big stick out points to me that I'd like to dive right into is editing. Because at the moment I use pretty much no AI in the editing process. I am sitting there in Premiere Pro like a beast, cutting every single edit, and I feel like I could be saving time. So help me out. What are you using and how are you doing it?
Dude, you got to get some AI in that process. Sure. So let's do a complete walkthrough. You filmed your content and you sit down and you've got a clean edit, like raw footage in Adobe Premiere. It used to take me, I don't know about you, but it used to take me like an hour or two just going through the recording that I've made of myself and just cleaning up mistakes. Every time I would like mess up a take and I'd have to repeat a line to get it correct. And maybe that would happen like 3, 4, 5 times before I actually got the line finished. The amount of R's, the amount of silences I'd have in that first take. Like I said, that first pass, just cleaning stuff up to get to a point where I can actually start adding visually nice things and actually adding some substance to the edit. That would be a 2-hour process. I'm using AI now, specifically a tool called Gling that just does all of that first pass edit for me in about 5 to 10 minutes. It's slashed my editing time.
This could save me so much time. So you get through, you've got the final edit. Do you do anything else? Like, do you do any audio sweetening or like video coloration? And is AI part of that process?
Yeah. So once Gling has done that first edit for me by cleaning up all the mistakes and getting rid of all the silences, I'm next using AI to do just the bells and whistles, like the icing on the cake. So I'll use AI to do some like zooms in and out of like my head, just to kind of make it more visually interesting. I'll be using AI to put some captions into the recording, even AI to find chapters and to add chapter title screens into my video. It's crazy what AI can do now. And I've only been realizing this stuff in the last few months. And then after I have done the visual stuff, like you accurately said then, I'm also going to be doing some audio cleaning up. So I use Adobe Premiere Pro 2. Conveniently, they've added the button inside Premiere recently where I can just click Enhance Audio, and I all of a sudden sound like you by the time my audio has been cleaned up by the AI. Got your super crisp studio quality.
The Adobe Enhance Audio, it's a brilliant feature because no matter what room you're recording in, you can just click a button and it sweetens it up. And I think it's got a percentage slider, so if you don't want it to sound too robotic, too processed, you can dial it down a bit. I'd like to dial back a little bit with that process where you said you do like zooms in and out of your head to keep it interesting. You're also using AI to find the chapters. So what are the tools you're using to assist you with that?
So it's actually one tool that does all of that. And the ability to do all of this stuff, so the ability to do the first pass, like cleanup, edit, and the ability to do all that extra stuff at stage 2, this has all been made possible from the video to text like transcription capability that's come with AI recently. So with that first pass edit, the AI is taking your recording, putting it into text and finding all the repetitions and the mistakes and all the ahs and ums and getting that out of the edit. At this second stage where I'm doing the zooms, the subtitles, the chapters, the second AI tool, which I'll tell you what it's called in just a second, is looking at that video transcript, and it's using AI to find like the significant moments and the powerful moments, and it's then applying those zooms to those like impactful moments where I'm saying something impactful. It's also using the transcription to understand the context of what I'm talking about and deciding when to put the chapter titles. Well, learning what the chapters are and what they should be called, and then putting the chapter title screens in. So it's all been made possible by audio to text transcription AIs and the AI's ability to understand that transcription contextually. And the tool I'm using is actually been co-founded by a popular YouTuber. You probably know him. He's British like us, Ali Abdaal. This is one of Ali Abdaal's tools. It's called Firecut AI. It plugs right into Premiere. It's an extension. It's really great. Check it out.
Okay, so we got through creating, we've got through editing. You say the ideation really comes from your human meaty brain as opposed to any AI. I don't know. I'd actually like to go into the ideation process a little bit before we go on to further promotion of the video. Are you not using AI at all? Are you not even using it as a sounding board, or maybe even, for instance, going to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm thinking about this kind of video, give me some ideas? Anything like that?
My ideas come to me really through like a combination of SEO research and competitor research, like what's popping in my niche at the moment. So that's where I'm getting the topics, and I'm finding and deciding on the topics. But you're right, yeah, I am using AI after that. Like maybe I'll draft up like a early version, first version title. I'll throw that into ChatGPT and say like, what do you think to this title? Or can you think of some improvements or some rewrites? And it might be that I probably won't be copying and pasting exactly what ChatGPT gives me, but maybe ChatGPT makes me aware of a word that I hadn't considered beforehand that would be better placed in my title than a specific word I was using before. Or maybe it would help me just kind of like get an understanding of how I can come at that title slightly differently. So I'm using it for inspiration to finesse, like polish my idea rather than to find that idea in the first place.
It seems to have always historically been a very long-term thing. You can target something that someone's looking for, create a video about it, and maybe, take that to the bank for years to come. One of the videos I've seen on your channel that seems to still to this day do incredibly well is a voice cloning tutorial. I think you were demonstrating 11 labs. So was that something you researched to get absolutely right before you actually went ahead and filmed the video?
If you check on YouTube, there's been a couple of outlier videos around 11 labs recently. I'm one of them. I think another guy is called like Alec Woodhouse or Alec Woodrow. And yeah, like 3 or 4 months ago, I was just like searching for new like popular AI tools. Saw that 11 labs was getting a few mentions. Did my SEO research, saw that there was a ton of SEO activity on that keyword each month, but there was hardly any videos on YouTube on that topic. So yeah, it was just like, there's an opportunity, there's a high demand, low supply. I'm going to fill that void and use SEO to kind of direct me on the topics I should talk about. And then I think I called that video AI voiceovers. And that was another SEO term that I found as well that I could use in the same title. So it was like hitting 2 SEO keywords in a single title there.
Okay, so we've spoken a lot about ideation. We've spoken about the editing and post-processing. And then obviously you want to make the thumbnail pop. That's kind of where I'd like to go next. Are you doing anything special with thumbnails at all?
So the same way that I'm not using AI to come up with like the idea, I'm using it to polish my title. I'm also using it to like polish my thumbnail ideas. So I'm looking at competitors and SEO to get an idea of like the type of topics I want to talk about and the types of thumbnails that could go with that topic, to kind of form like an initial like thumbnail, I don't know, like wireframe, like blue, like template that I could follow for each video. But then, I'm using AI for further inspiration from that to refine that design choices. So I don't know if you've seen, I think you have actually, I think I saw you post about it on LinkedIn. Mr. Beast has recently announced a new YouTuber platform, like a data tool for YouTube. It's called ViewStats. You know about this, right? Yeah. And within that tool, you have, I think he's called it like AI thumbnail or like thumbnail search or something like that. You can basically find a thumbnail that you like the look of, pop it into the tool, and it will find you a ton of other thumbnails that is similar to that original thumbnail. So say I find a thumbnail with a Ferrari in it. This just pops into my head because I've got this little thing here. I can pop that thumbnail into ViewStats, and then I'm going to see like hundreds of other thumbnails with Ferraris in it. And I can see which of those videos did well, which didn't. So then I can kind of develop a better understanding of like videos on Ferraris that have a Ferrari in the thumbnail. What's the patterns behind the thumbnails that do well on that topic versus the ones that do badly? So definitely using AI to get inspiration. And also, I can also just type in the word Ferrari into that tool, and I'm also going to see like the highest performing Ferrari thumbnails too. So really good for inspiration for sure.
Photoshop has a great tool. Maybe you're using the generative fill to not create the whole thing, but to change aspects, right?
For sure, yeah. Often I'll use generative fill to like fill in space that didn't exist in the original photograph, so give me extra space, and sometimes just to correct things that I need like removed from the image. I'm actually using AI in another way too with my thumbnails. I'm using AI for upscaling, like image quality enhancing. So it may be that I want to use like a still from within the video for my thumbnail, but the still, when I make a screenshot of it, it doesn't look too sharp, too clear. I'll throw that into an AI. I use Topaz myself, Topaz, and it uses AI to just kind of recognize what's a face and what's not, and just like upscale that low res video still to like a seemingly high res SLR like photo that I can use in my thumbnail. That's really great.
So I'd like to kind of bring this journey of creating videos online to a close, because I think in this episode, you've taken us through a beautiful journey of coming up with the ideas, recording, editing, and doing all of the extra effects that you do. And you've mentioned a ton of tools already, but I know you are a big fan of Opus Clip. In fact, we spoke about it before we started recording. And I think this is one of the tools that you can use to potentially promote your efforts further on different platforms and as shorts. But I'll let you take it away, Greg. How are you using Opus Clip and maybe other tools to do the post-promotion of your content?
So there's two use cases for Opus Clip that I think will be valuable for your viewers, which I want to talk about. The first way I've used it in the time I've been using Opus Clip is when I was in a position similar to yourself. I used to have a podcast just like this, talking to other creators. And as you know, once you've done that podcast, you're left with a 30, 60-minute recording, which you can upload to YouTube and where else. But then, like we've seen from Joe Rogan and all these other famous podcasts, having smaller clips of that episode to drive more eyeballs to the original episode is such like a valuable promotion technique. But it takes time sitting down and just like getting the original podcast into your editing software and finding all those moments that you want to chop up into smaller clips. So when I was podcasting like you, I found Opus Clip and it took all of that heavy lift out of it for me. Like the AI would digest the episode, understand what was happening in that podcast episode, and find between 10 to 30 moments that it could turn into YouTube Shorts, TikToks, and Instagram Reels for me in just a single click of a button. So that's use case one. And I don't know about you, but when I was doing that stuff manually, finding that like saved me hours of time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that exactly is my thing. I have totally outsourced doing the short creation and the promotional stuff to a tool like Opus Clip that can literally go through. And actually watching your tutorial on it was very clarifying, because not only will it search through, it will give you the top points. It'll be like, this is probably the most important part that you should share first. And I think it gives each clip a score. But one of the things that you mentioned in the tutorial that really resonated with me, the first time I used Opus Clip, I left it on auto mode. I said, just find me clips between 0 seconds and 3 minutes long. And it was throwing me out all kinds of weird clips. And I was like, this isn't quite what I wanted. And then I watched your video and you said, no, train it to find only 30-second clips. Or if you're on, I don't know, Instagram, maybe only 90-second clips. And then I was getting far more relevant little bite-sized pieces. And I was like, that's such a tip. So yeah, go on. If you've got any more to share on Opus Clip, I'm all ears.
Cool. Yeah. So huge time saver for podcasters, live streamers who are filming like huge 4-8 hour streams. Really good for getting clips from your long videos. The second way that I found Opus Clip to be extremely valuable, and it's how I'm still using it today, is for my sort of like more, how can I explain this? Videos that I'm just like creating and getting out there a lot quicker than my main channel content. Like my main channel content takes me hours to like script and from start to finish to put those videos out. But it's also valuable for me to put out like videos on like LinkedIn, just like keep people updated with what I'm doing over there, or maybe to just like create a quick YouTube short or like an Instagram story. But just kind of like filming those videos, just me sitting talking to the camera, that's a boring video no one's going to watch. So I found out with Opus Clip, like if I can just take that 3-4 minute recording, upload it to Opus Clip, it then will auto caption that whole video for me in like 60 seconds. And I can also add B-roll to that recording. So rather than just being me sitting talking to my camera like this with some text underneath it, every so often when there's like the right moment, Opus Clip is going to find AI stock photos and pop it up on the screen, just so there's a bit of like variety happening on screen, what's happening. And it takes that boring 2-minute video where I was sat talking to the camera or I'm walking along talking to my phone and turns it instantly into like a subtitled, B-roll added, like visually interesting clip. And just like, well, automatically in a couple of minutes.
Greg, this has been amazing. I'm sure a lot of people listening and watching this podcast will want to find you online. So where's the best place you'd send them to?
Sure. Yeah. So it's going to be in my YouTube channel. I've just passed over 100,000 subscribers there. And when people ask me how I did that, and when I stop and reflect of like, why have I hit that milestone when so many people I know around me have like tried and failed at YouTube, it all comes down to consistency. Like that's the one thing I've done day in, day out, like over the last 6 years, is I've just consistently kept coming back to YouTube, made videos, and that like body of work has like, every new video I've released has sent new eyeballs to my channel, and every new videos I've released has improved my skills as a video maker. So I see consistency as the number one most important thing to being successful as a content creator. And I try and make videos to just help creators be consistent. Main way I do that is by helping them to save time when they make videos, by putting them in the direction of AI tools that can help them save time. So it's all about like making videos quickly and being consistent.
Thanks so much for checking out this episode of the Creator Magic podcast. Would you like to get a weekly email with all the latest AI tools I find? If so, head over to mrc.fm/Creator Magic and hit subscribe to get my weekly email newsletter. That's mrc.fm/Creator Magic.